very good run. A while ago, you're like 60 hours in FTL without a single win. Figuring out the flagship for the first time is definitely pretty tricky. Also in Discord at like 2 AM. Oh, good lord. Imagine being up at 2 AM. Oh, horror. Ooh, that's all. He got freeze on me. But I have way more freeze than him, and my freeze, unlike most builds, my freeze is continuous. So, he has one-time freeze triggers, I have continual freeze triggers. And there's another 12-day winner. 10 winner. Kind of a bad move when you start work at 7:30. You know, that's a fair point. I don't start work at 7:30. I used to start work at 8:30. So that would, you know, I leave for work at 7:30. Thereabouts. Alright, that's where the screenshot. That was a pretty nuts build. Granted, Icy Companion Core is very hard to beat. Though also 8,200 health on day 12 with Dooley, that's pretty good. I really wish I knew how much max health I got from Walter, but I would guess it was probably a couple thousand over the run. Have a good night, boy. Relying on freeze? Classic? What? When do I sleep? I sleep... I average 4 to 6 hours a night. I do not nap. Vampires don't sleep. What are you talking about? Of course they sleep. But, you know, they go sit in their coffins during the day or whatever. Oh god. Let's go back to the flare. The loose cannon. Admittedly, the sitting on a cannon is quite fun. Our district. I think I already had that one. Not a napper? No. I cannot. I do not nap. Only time you would see me, like, laying in bed with my... You ask a lot of questions. You're fine. You do not ask too many questions. And besides, I have a high tolerance for questions. My tolerance is lower, significantly lower for lots of the same questions. So if you kept asking me the exact same question night after night, alright, then I'd get kind of pissed, admittedly. But if it's like a question variety spread out over a period of time, I really don't mind. I think I already had that too. And that rug. It's a nice rug though. Maybe we switch to it. Get some variety. But hey, 10 wins. Back to back 10 winners. Without blank. Speaking of, have a good night. I think I forgot to say anything. I worry about the Bennett without blank. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? I'll put it up. Y'all can do it. It's your prerogative. Y'all's prerogative. What happens? ATM early is kind of nice. That's 2 income for the rest of the run. I think that's the play. Ooh, wait a sec. Okay. Alright. I will take a day 1, vendor 1 crook, I guess. It's not even that great right now, admittedly. Like, it's a 30 damage weapon, that's not amazing. But Get under my skin. Well, in fairness, that's a pretty... If I didn't have to deal with repeated identical questions so much in my daily life, I think I wouldn't care that much. But because I have to deal with it so much, it does tend to get very tiresome on stream. But it's also not good for a streamer to not be able to take repeated questions. Like, streamers kind of need to be able to take repeated questions, you know? So, Flow would be, what, 25? I think we sell the ATM, buy bull, grab golden experience. Won't be enough. Okay, what's this? This would be 675 every 6 seconds. This is 100 every 8. So this would be better. Zanza. Be mindful of that. Don't, Monty, you really don't need to be mindful. But don't worry. The odds that you would ask so many repeat questions that would drive me insane is astronomical. They're astronomically low, considering you should remember what questions you have asked in recent times, right? Like, the recency is kind of a big factor. What? My mouse died. Uh-oh. Alright. It's fine. I have a backup plan. It's called plugging it in and then moving around. Okay. Oh, these are all pretty bad. That was 50 max out. Grab some income, put the flail on board, and then get some more experience. And we can fight Tent City Mayor, I think. For the record, I was to give a prediction for this run, I would bet 10 wins. If y'all want my advice, this is a very strong start. It's not guaranteed 10 wins by any means, but 10 wins would not be an unreasonable bet. Double rewards card, that's pretty fine. And there Monty goes, just straight up ignoring my advice. Wow. Cold. Like, very rare do I influence bets, and I just give a straight up, this is probably a 10-win run advice, and then just ignore it. Wow. You voted before I finished. Sure. Well, sure, of course. Yes, it's natural. I hear you loud and clear. You would bet, but you don't know how this game works. Well, in fairness, you don't really know how the game works if you believe my advice on about the bet. You think anyone else who bet does? What are you talking about, Missile? You are a master of this game. You know, we all know it. Is it like teamfight tactics? It is an auto battler, so sure. It is closer to teamfight tactics than, like, teamfight tactics is a closer estimation than many other things you could have said, so sure. So it's like teamfight tactics in the sense that you set up your board and then when battle occurs, it just plays itself. There's no real-time aspect of this game, right? So it's exactly like teamfight tactics in that regard. That's a big silk. Brent. Oh, wow. That was actually like a pretty respectful setup. He probably could have beaten a number of other people. It's unlike teamfight tactics because you are not operating off of a shared item pool. Which means like the item, nor are you operating under an environment of like competing in the same lobby as like other players. The PvP fights in this game are purely like the basic idea behind the PvP fights of this game is so this game is played over some number of days. At the end of each day you have a fight against someone else's build, and when you fight someone else's build, the build you had at the time will get saved and it will go up as a ghost that someone else can randomly draw. So instead of being in like a direct lobby confrontation with someone else, it's more like a mix between like directly battling someone, or it's a mix between a direct PvP in the lobby and just playing like a single player game where you don't directly interact, or you don't have any multiplayer element, right? So it's kind of like a cross between those, if I had to put it one way. Keep scaling our experience. Experience is significantly less important on Pig than it is on Vanessa or Dooley, because the main benefit of experience is getting better loot items, but Pig does not rely on loot items almost ever for anything, so you have lost your main benefit for doing this. So right now, what I really want is to find like a belt or something. How do you win? Yeah, so basically, like I mentioned, this game is played over some number of days, and that's the number on the left side here for the record. So it's a clock, so these are each hours. At the end of each day, you have a PvP fight, as I mentioned, and that PvP fight has you go against someone else's build. Now, how it works in practice, is that when you want to, 6 hours per day, because you count the top neighbor. Anyway, your goal is to get 10 PvP wins. every time you lose a PvP fight, you lose prestige equal to the day it is. So if I were to lose my PvP fight at the end of this day, I would lose 5 prestige. If you run out of prestige, you run it. So that's the basic like structure there. Is your goal is to basically just, you know, win a bunch, without running out of prestige. And what is this at? 10% would be 91, which is technically better than a cash cannon, but not better, much better. So that's the goal. Halfway through each day, you find a pre-built NPC monster opponent, and you get 3 options, and you get to choose which monster you fight based on like, and because they're pre-built, if you've played the game, you know exactly what you're going to face when you find a monster, so you should be able to generally predict, and can I beat this monster? Yeah, but the basic goal is just win all of your PvP fights at the end, or at least win 10 of them. Cash cannon is getting kind of decent. Let's see if let's sell these and max out our longbow. That's a pretty big longbow, not gonna lie. 291. Longbow gains an additional cast when it is used if you have more health than your opponent at cast time. So that's also pretty valuable. This guy has a lot of health. What the heck? Why does the dually have this much health? What the heck? Oh, I should deal with shit. Nice. Yeah, so in terms of what's like going on here, every item has cast time. That's like the green bar trickling up. You know, 6 seconds for the flail, for instance. The red number is going to be the damage they deal. The important one, or the way the build is currently operating, is that we are using an item called a crook, which your medium weapons have plus 10 damage for each medium item you have. So this crook is giving all of my weapons plus 50 damage. So it's scaling them significantly. Because of it. Okay, the Lion King is better than the flail now. Because the flail was doing, what, 65? Actually, it's... okay, it's about equivalent, now that I think about it. Alright, we'll do this. But yeah, so another aspect of the, like, NPC monster fight is that you're... when you beat a monster, you're going to get a random item that they are using. So you can strategically choose which monster you want to fight to maximize the experience and gold that you get, but also to like hope that you get an item that you want. In that case, there are no monsters that I wanted their items, but you know, just for the sake of the explanation, I will mention it. Okay, so Atlatl is a good item to find, but it's also like completely useless right now. Health, toughness, and shield. Okay, so there you go, miss. Well, here's your Kev's Armory example. Kev's Armory sells health, toughness, and shield items. Because it sells shield items, it has an increased chance to sell items enchanted with shield. It's very different from TFT. You'll try it out when it releases. I would recommend it. Yeah, this game's a bit more relaxed than TFT, I would say, and it's much less like direct competition, obviously, because you aren't in a pool with 7 other players, right? So you're never going to see the same, or I shouldn't say never, you're very unlikely to see the same opponent ever again in a run. So it's more about like making the best board you can instead of having a bit more like direct competitive like meta game with like the lobby you're playing in. Though you can, obviously you can do some shenanigans if you know what, like, popular builds are at the time. After we sell the flail, stash a dagger that I'll never use, but it does gain value every time I sell an item. But yeah, I think this game is, so it's set to go out into open beta, in February, I believe, is the expected date. Though, who knows exactly when it's gonna hit open beta. They've generally been kind of wishy-washy, but that's mostly because of holidays and break and whatnot. The devs are coming off of a long break. I believe they are, like, starting back at work, on this Monday. Like most people. But yeah, definitely I would recommend this game. I think I certainly really enjoy it. Maybe too much. I've played so much of this game. Feels like a completed game already. I wouldn't go that far. So, the game has some obvious issues, I would say. Some balance. They've done a fantastic job narrowing down bugs, admittedly. Like, the game was, like, riddled with bugs and server issues on like, the beta launch, which they have generally removed. Oh yeah, there's your heavy bird. That makes no sense. Okay, let's sell the dagger. They also had a lot of server issues that they have generally done a good job fixing, but items disappear from victory screens. Well, they don't disappear, they get stacked on top of each other. That's what's happening. Do I win this? I think I have enough health to just tank this, yeah. Actually, he doesn't do that much damage. I was giving him too much credit. Yeah, so there's definitely some bugs going on here or there. They can be problematic at times. It's nothing like this. It's not disaster level. Like, if they release the game as is, like maybe with a balance patch or something, I think people will be perfectly fine. Like, it's still an excellent game, but okay, that's right. Okay, so put the knee brace on, lower the hash can cooldown, our CDR decreases, sell by this, sell by this, sell by this. So if you're curious why I'm buying all of this, the dog, when I sell a small item, it gains 6 damage, and the cash can, when I gain gold, it gains double the amount of gold and damage. So, it's just like these little things to stack, the damage of my items. Weapon skills. Most likely we just want medium items. Oh, these are all pretty good, actually. So, Brawler I already have, so if I bought it, it would give an additional plus 100 max health for each weapon I have. What would I like add to the game? I think they could do some slight balance patches. I think every character could use some slightly more items, and then a couple more heroes would probably be where I'd end up. I think Brawler's gonna have the most like impact and towards the run. But I also think the reason closed beta is going on so long is they're using it as a way to try out different game ideas on a larger setting. which is what they should, but like, it's not even that the game couldn't be launched. Like, the bugs aren't so extreme that you couldn't launch this game perfectly fine, but they have like a couple different, they clearly have like a couple different game ideas. Yes, that's interesting. That they want to try, and they're slowly like cycling through them to try to iron out the gameplay pattern overall. Golden Pawn Shop. Best part about the Golden Pawn Shop is it looks really good, but also I don't need it in the slightest. Upgrade an item. Okay, I guess we're upgrading the crook. Wait, was that the play? Maybe that wasn't the play. Oh, she was just now. Yeah. No, I think that might have been synced. Upgrade the crook. Because I think I actually probably wanted to upgrade the Cash Can or the Lion's King. Now I think about it. Upgrading the Lion's King actually gives it double damage, which is kind of nuts. It's probably a Lion's King upgrade angle, but it's fine. Upgrading Crook means I want Caltrops. That's kind of the main draw. Wow, this guy's a lot of freeze. What? Oh, he has an icy... Wow. Icy ignition core. Wow, that is disgusting. Imagine having an icy core. Ooh, sells enchanted items. See, Missile, if you just live to day 9, you have a chance to get a vendor that literally sells enchanted items. Fiery Atlanta. Okay, sure. Fine by me. So weapons, sells weapon skills. Let's see weapons. Because I'm looking for upgrades. And Caltrops. Beautiful. Okay. Alright, how do I do this? So, I sell the dog and the longbow, I think. And then we find Elite Duelist and hope he gives us his skill, Big Ego, to give all of our weapons lifesteal. That would be very nice to get. I mean, if we got that... Okay, I was gonna say, one can only be so lucky in a singular run. We have a glitch going on. One sec. Yeah, so they have glitches like that where sometimes you can't sell your items. We have 1 second at Laddle. The Fiery doesn't really do much for us, but it does look very intimidating. He has 2 free skills. The Caltrops are why we're gonna win. Okay, I think the soundtrack is done, so 1 sec. Yeah, this is... You know, I should have listened to that, actually. But that is a TV show soundtrack, and not only is a TV show soundtrack, that was a Disney TV show, which means we should not play that on here. You definitely lost the gambit. I literally throwing faith into Missile's pockets? Missile's not winning this, are you kidding me? It would take, so the most likely we're getting, it would be, I'd be very surprised if we didn't get 10 wins. Very surprised. It's not impossible, but I'd be surprised. Alright, now I definitely upgrade the Crook because I have an Atlatl and Counter. Monster skills. What you got for me? Now, these are all useless. I guess we do augmented weaponry, but it doesn't really matter. In this case, I'm actually going to do Boss Arrow and hope he gives us his skill Assault Focus. Any non-weapon items used slow for 2 seconds. We're using 5 weapons, so it's amazing. 50 freeze dually array builds. Ooh. That's interesting. What's the damage on this? 200. It's gonna be kind of hard. Oh, it's better than the Lion King. Is it? Is it? Wait, no, it isn't better than the Lion King. I guess it's never gonna be.